On the 10th episode of the Reframe podcast, Omran Shafique shares his amazing journey of Mauj, Cokestudio, and touring with Junoon. There are lots of inspirational messages in this journey, and there's so much to learn in pursuit of chasing your dreams. This episode was recorded in an open terrace, so enjoy the elements along with the conversation. If you get value out of the show, the best way to support me is to subscribe and share it with someone, whether it be in casual conversation or through social media. If you would like to connect with me, please tag me at farrukhtalks on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Let's get on with the 10th episode of the Reframe podcast with Omran Shafique.
Woo!
Here we go.
Here we go.
Well done. Thank you, sir.
How's the vibe?
The vibe's been great. I came here for work and that went well.
That one excellent.
Huh? Yeah, you enjoyed
It was
it?
amazing.
हमें अक्सर पता नहीं चलता किस तरह हुआ है.
Yeah.
But the vibe was good.
Yeah.
It felt good. Although I felt, and I think it's expectations that you build up हो जाती हैं.
Yeah.
Because the last time we played, we were like, wow, the crowd is just so loud and it's kind of going crazy. And this time I was like, I don't know if it's as loud and crazy as it was last time. But then people coming up to me afterwards like, yeah, it was back by the end of it, and they were screaming fans by the end of it as well. So I think you're just gauging this one standard too high.
Yeah, and
So we're like, maybe you're right. Yeah, I don't know.
you guys were coming up, back-to-back tours and.
So we were like warmed up as well. We were like, okay, now थोड़ा सा समझ आ गई. That was our second show. I mean, the last time we played.
The Karachi one was the first,
Karachi was-
and then this was second.
And now we've kind of been through like 8-9 shows. So.
Yeah, but if you ask us, we were there in the first one, and
No.
of course here also. The last one really had a lot
Vibes,
more energy.
yeah.
This time, by the time you were into the second song, it was back.
Right.
But in the beginning,
we didn't realize, and it looked like yeah, ye kya.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then it filled up rather quickly, and then लेकिन वो impression की बात होती है.
Huh.
It was overwhelming the first time.
Yeah.
When we played. It was like, oh wow,
It was crazy for us too.
Yeah, there's a lot of energy, and that's amazingly that's the vibe everywhere we've gone. Obviously, it wears thin eventually. Like okay, aa rahe hain, phir se aa rahe hain. Like, how many times can you see the same guy? I mean, I know guys who have flown to see Junoon almost every show from like wherever they are to go see. Obviously, I mean, you gotta have the situation to be able to back that up. But I'm like, well, that guy is literally probably the number one Junoon fan that I can think of. Like, I can't imagine watching a band more than like 3 or 4. Like, no matter how much I like a band,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna watch them, more than once in a month at least.
Yeah.
It's like, you're at every show, dude.
Yeah, and
It's amazing.
we
That's dedication, man.
That's Junoon.
That's Junooni, man.
That's Junooni.
That's
That's
Junooni.
Junooni.
Like, I don't think any other band, Pakistan, and then okay, abroad, Zeppelin, all these
Yeah.
guys, they inspire that kind of like fervor.
Yeah.
My God.
I don't think itni aur koi band Pakistan mein to iske
But I think in Pakistan there's only Junoon at that level.
at that level of insanity.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember last time I was at your place in Karachi.
Yeah.
We were discussing because you guys had started the tour and all.
The tour, it's shuru
yeah,
wala.
yeah. And then, because of course, everybody around my age, right? I think around 91, 92 when they started the concert and all.
Yeah.
So we've been hooked on to Junoon. And incidentally, the last concert in Dubai before they split up was in the same venue.
Same venue. I remember they brought that. They mentioned it. That was like, this was the last show we played. Right?
Yeah.
And
so it was reconnecting.
But definitely Dubai's been good in that sense that, and I think Dubai is really the perfect place for Junoon fans. It's got, it's multicultural. It's a universal kind of, feel. It's not just Pakistanis, it's whoever wants to come out.
Yeah.
So it was like
There
inclusive.
were Arabs there.
Sure, wow.
And I saw a lot of Insta stories of Arabs just saying, in Arabic, the show is about to start.
No way,
Yeah.
wow, that's amazing.
That was the amazing bit. And so here, of course, most of the Arabs do understand and speak a lot.
A little bit, yeah. Hindi.
Hindi, yeah. So because of Indian movies and all of that, and a lot of people dig the sound.
Yeah.
The
I mean,
Junoon sound.
there's a. And there was a white journalist who came to, we had a Jan Tara orchestra show with the Sounds of Karachi like 3 weeks ago. So there was a Swedish journalist who came, and this is what he was talking about. He's like, in the West, we've lost all spirituality in the lyrics or the subject matter. And it's very much focused on.
It's all EDM and techno and
Well,
all
I mean,
that.
even that, but even like the rock music or the pop music, generally it's like everyone avoids talking about anything spiritual or as
Even
if it's like
political,
a dirty subject. Like you can't talk about this anymore. I'd be considered like a pop act. And then he came and he saw Sounds of Karachi and they sing about God, and then Chata Orchestra, these are songs about God.
Yeah.
Even if they're not traditional Sufi kalam, like we have like original, but they're like still, and they don't necessarily have to be about God.
Yeah.
It's about
Yaar
search.
ke bare baat ki, and it's separation. Those are like Sufi concepts.
And then there's Talash.
And then there's Salash, and then the proper political stuff. But his point was that I enjoyed the fact that you guys are doing like arena rock music.
Yeah.
But with a lyrical thing, where he's like, that elevates even like the simplest things that you guys are doing. It elevates it to a next level because you guys are talking about such like heavy concepts, and they're not like, oh, I'm so sad, oh, I'm so broken or everything. It's like, no, it's like we're talking about universal things, So
and then that's engaging people.
So he was like, for me, that's a refreshing change. I don't get that in the West. He's like, I am spiritual. Like, I mean, every human being is spiritual, whether or not they believe in a certain dogma or not. They're everyone's like, and there's no atheist in Foxhole. Right? When you're in trouble, you're like, just please, God, help me out. So that was something, and I'm like, and I think that's what you get from Junoon music and Pakistani music in general. Cokestudio been the whole point of it is that we're I mean, a lot of it, obviously they do Sufi, but folk music and everything. But folk music, classical music, it's all almost always somehow interlinked with
and thinking that I think
with a spiritual angle.
Cokestudio's biggest success to date has been Tajdar Haram.
Tajdar Haram. Afri maybe?
Yeah.
Which is okay, not religious, but it's sung by a kawal. So it's still, it's still the passion of the spiritual, I think, still comes across in that. But Tajdar Haram is probably second most.
So and again.
Really? I thought Tajdar Haram was the first and Afrin was after.
I don't know. I think they might be like
this.
The point is both of them,
both
of the Qawwalis, they are not on. So the topic is not that मैं तेरी तू मेरा.
I mean, there always tends to be something deeper. Tajdar Haram, literally, it's not. There's no denying that that's
so it's a very different thing. But how was your experience? You played in the West before moving to Pakistan. In the US, right?
Sure.
So then, how was your personal experience considering all of that we're talking about right now?
What
kind of music were you playing? Were you playing the band?
But I was more than anything else when I got to the US 91, 92. I was more interested in the Western music, right? I was kind of disconnected from this side, and there was no spirituality involved. I mean, I was into the proggy scene and the whole. So then, lyrical concepts and lyrical ideas were a bit broader in scope, and science fiction-y, and we were really into anime. So we were like geeks. So we, there's a lot of like D&D references, sci-fi references, and things like that. We're like, okay, because we were geeks, so we were like Rush fans. So there's like, so I've always been attracted to high-minded concepts, lyrically and subject matter. अगर आपने कोई music किया है, and obviously, at least what we thought were high-minded. I mean, but in our college kind of sophomoric ideas, हम कहते हैं हाँ ये बड़ी जबरदस्त चीज़ है, like talking about science, like planets exploding and flying into space and stuff. So, but we generally it's devoid of and then अगर वो religious ज़्यादा हो जाता है तो you like you know gospel music or your but gospel music is amazing. I mean, so this type of stuff I started appreciating after I'd already been playing guitar for a couple of years. In '93, man, then Junoon was a big factor because I heard a song like
'95.
Around that time, and then a friend of mine was like, you know, that's kind of inspired from a Qawwali, and I was like, really? I had no idea, right? Un dino, obviously, Ustad Nusrat Fateh Ali Khan Sahab was like very popular, they were the biggest thing. So, and he was like, unki aap Qawwali sune the Kale Kale Zulfon ke, and then it was like, you know, it all comes from like that, and so I was like, oh, so you know, taking all the inspiration from that, and then adding like Led Zeppelin stuff on top, and so that was eye-opening. I was like, so many things you can do with that. But that is because of Junoon, I was able to then go back and listen to the Qawwalis and then and then I'd be like, I barely understand most of this, so what is it? Half of it's in like Persian, you get it. So that kind of helped me appreciate something, the spirituality of it. And you know, and I never got the subtext before. Because no one sat down and explained it to me, because I didn't come from like a family where, you know, people are discussing Sufi concepts or anything. You know, regular middle of the road family were sort of religious, but not, you know, extremely religious. So there was like, but Qawwalis weren't something that we were like always listening to. I mean, Abda ji obviously Ammi ko pasand tha, and then my dad was more into ghazals and shairi as opposed to like Qawwaliyan and everything. But all of it is linked into all of it. But there was definitely no. And then I think back, because I was in an American school from day one, and I was so westernized by the end of it. I think my dad was just like, "Isko kya samjhaun?" You know, I'd have to like teach him Urdu first, and then isko padhao, and then he's like, yeah. So it never really, you know, I never got into it until what I heard from Junoon and you know, Vital Signs were doing Sufyan Ghulam type as well by that time, and then so I went back and then started listening to and the night songs and all those things happened, and I was like, there's so much and potentiality and the depth of it was what got me. I was like, it's simple, like one word just being repeated in a chant is so powerful, and depending on what that word means and what that connotation is, and you know, so you don't need like a whole, you know, epic Homer Odyssey of a poem, you know, to explain point, what is
no
your
complications. You get into the spirit.
Simple and repetitive and hypnotic, and you know, and those type of things were like a new concept. I mean, those are like, and then I think that further developed once so the rock and roll thing was still going on with Ali Azmat. So you know, definitely I was like, when I started playing with Ali Azmat, then it was still that rock and roll thing. But through that album, the Ali Azmat, the Crash and Folk Wali album that we did, Ruhail heard that album at Ali's, and he was like, "Who are the guys playing?" And Ali was like, "ये नया अभी अमेरिका से आया, ये गंभी है, और ये मनु भाई हैं जिनको." Ruhail was like, "Okay, give me the numbers. I'm gonna call them up. I think I have a project for them that I want."
Oh, that's how.
And that's how Cokestudio started. So Ali abhi bhi kehta hai, yeah, Ruhail stole all my musicians that started this thing, and so it's but it was, and then that's when, because Ruhail was heavily into the conceptual side of a lot of it, right? So, and that's the thing about Ruhail music, is that on the surface level it's very simple and straightforward and this kind of thing, but uske piche ek itni badi soch hoti hai, you know, and then there's a lot of care to make sure that the message isn't diluted, that the power of a certain kind of music isn't diluted too much. So he was always focused on that. Obviously, in the first 1 or 2 seasons, it was more like, okay, you know, you guys kind of do this, and then we'll see how it goes. And then, but eventually, I think it got clear in his head how he wanted to do it. But you listen to season 2 onwards, and for me, I'm like, hey, this is just a continuation of where Vital Signs were at Hum Tum.
Oh yes.
Hum Tum के बाद उन्होंने रोहेल did that, राहत फ़तेही साहब के साथ उन्होंने
you can see
album की,
clearly,
and then I
you
was
can
like,
see elements of Rohail.
oh man,
Where,
wow.
yeah.
And that's his evolution, you can see it. And I was like, okay, the second season onward, he's just taking up, hum to, instead of having Junaid sing all the songs, he just kind of said, oh no, we'll get different guys to sing. But the progress you see, I was like, yeah, that's Rohail's signature sound, and that's kind of what he honed, I think, into it. So then, yeah, that's what kind of has now led me to this kind of great appreciation of the fact, you can talk about big things and make it powerful, not have to shy away from it. You know?
And you know what fascinates me is to extremes is that here in Pakistan particularly, you don't have trained musicians. There's no music school and this and that.
Well,
and
Eastern में तो है training उसकी.
Eastern side, but not on the
Western पे तो it's all.
And then look at the quality that we're producing. You know?
Yeah. Well, we
self-taught.
I mean, reggae was born out of like the ghettos of Jamaica, right? And without any proper sound system, they're like, hey, हमारा reggae का जो वो अजीब सा जो timing है, off सा जो आता है, but that was because we used to hear music from far away that was being played, and it would bounce off walls, and we would hear like these weird delays. Right? So that's how we kind of listen to music. That was our understanding. So when we went to the studio, we were like, we want the why isn't it happening? We're like, okay, we'll have the delay in there. And then that became the sound of reggae, you know. So there's the playing of
that will add to the background.
So then, you know, so you have to let it develop, and adversity, necessity, those things then combine to make, you know, interesting music. And at the end of the day, sometimes a lot of training, a lot of theory can stifle
the growth,
the creativity of an artist. So I'm not saying in all cases, and I'm definitely not saying you shouldn't study the art form that you're involved in. Obviously, आपकी foundations अच्छी होनी चाहिए. You should get to be able to understand what it is that you're doing. You should understand, like, you play the guitar, you should understand the guitar. Okay, what are the components?
No, but if you sit in front of an educated, learned Western musician who plays by the sheet music, and you say, "Kya bajana hai?" Okay, and then you do that. And I'm like, what? You don't read music?
Yeah, well, no. At the same time, I've had the JoJo had like classical players or something come up to me after like a show or something. They're like, you know, we can play Mozart, we can play Bach, we can play the most complicated stuff if you put a piece of paper in front of me. But take that piece of paper and I'll be like, we can't play Happy Birthday, we can't play things. Like my fingers don't move until I can read.
Yeah. So
then, and he's like, what you guys do? You just like making stuff up on the spot. You're kind of like jamming sometimes. You're like extending things. We cannot, And he's like, we can't even think about that stuff. We're, you know, and I was like, you know, it's a different art form.
Yeah.
And we have studied it. We have kind of, you know, we've looked at bands that have done it, and we're like, that's cool. So we've done our part of the learning.
Yeah.
We've taken. It's just that we don't have a certificate at the end of the day. Taken up to the. There's no excuse to not be able, not be caught up with a certain kind of music, because you can go to YouTube
everything
and find all the information out there. Although sometimes I think presentation, language barriers, just किसी चीजों की वजह से शायद नहीं होता. But that's why we were talking about the podcast. I was like, I want to do a podcast where it's just technical stuff about music. I mean, we can talk about whatever. We don't even have to talk about music generally. But I want to call in a musician and then discuss, you know, what are the subtleties of the thing? Like, what are the intricate जो चीजें होती हैं, you know, maybe that aren't surface level.
Yeah.
So वो फिर let's see. I'm taking notes on how all this is.
So we've gone through some iterations as well, you know. So I was telling you just now, the first big mistake I did, coming from a little bit of that studio mindset.
Condensers, you
warned
me about that, but no condensers.
Yeah, I was like, first 2 episodes were on condenser. They sounded horrible. I had to spend hours and hours.
What about lavalier mics? What is up with lavalier? That seems like it's convenient.
They are convenient, but then again, the issue is then you lose a lot of quality unless you have some really, really good. I mean, with sure you can be sure.
You can be sure. That is your tagline.
Yeah.
It should be their tagline.
Yeah. So I had condensers for the first couple of episodes, and then I used to spend hours.
How many episodes have you done? I think more than anything else, all podcasters need to know that consistency is the game, right?
So there's a phenomena called pod fade.
Pod fade,
which says that most of the podcasts fade away before they hit double digits. 8, 9, 10.
8, 9, yeah.
Because of consistency. So we have not reached 10. This is probably going to be 9th, I think.
Yeah. I had that podcast that I was doing with Baba Sheikh, Mad Culture, which I think we did about 15, 16, and then we definitely had a fade.
Yeah.
Well, it literally stopped. It wasn't a fade. It was like cut to black. It wasn't fade to black. It was cut to black. It was.
And I think a reason because right now podcast is a very long game. I mean, you don't get listeners. Of course, if you tie up with some specific niche, that's a different thing.
Yeah.
But then you don't usually get listeners immediately.
Yeah.
Right, and so you have to be consistent.
Right.
You have to be patient. You know, and a lot of people come into podcasting as another means of monetizing it.
Right.
And I don't agree to that.
Oh, you don't agree? I mean,
reason being, you have to be patient.
But like that's like any business idea,
and that's when they fade out. No? So they say, I spend like 15 episodes, like I've spent 50 hours on it.
Yeah, and nothing's
coming up.
Yeah.
So that's one thing.
Right.
Okay, musically I want to backtrack.
Sure.
When was Mauj born? And I heard a rumor that's coming back.
Yeah, I mean that rumor's been going on for the last 10 years.
Mauj needs to come back.
It needs to come back. That's a sign.
Amazing.
I appreciate that.
So tell us the story of Mauj.
The story of Mauj, it's convoluted. There was a band that I was in, and some people have come up to me, and it blows my mind how something that you do in college can have lasting repercussions that that affect people throughout. It seems like so people have come up to me and said they remember like this. I was in a band called Opera in Houston, and then we recorded an album around. We opened for like Junoon back in the day, 95 to like 97. So we were like active in the US kind of scene. But we never made any money off of it. It was very much like a passion thing. We like doing this. But eventually, it was like, I think we've run the course of this band. At least for me, I was like out of it. So from those ashes, towards the end, Atif, the bass player for Mauj, Mohsen Atif, basically. Started playing session with Opera on bass.
Okay. In the US, yeah.
In the US. So, and this is the time when that band was pretty much coming to an end as far as I was concerned. So then I asked Atif, but I liked the way he played. We got along, and we had a chemistry together as well. So I was like, okay, Atif, I'm thinking of starting a new band. So what do you think? He's like, yeah, I'm in. Let's do it. So फिर उसके साथ बैठ के and initially so it was we just used to play Junoon covers basically and Vital Science covers and desi जो भी होते थे we play a couple of shows the cover songs mostly शायद एक गाना हमने लिखा हुआ था so we'd sometimes throw that in there and people were like what song is that we were like that's our own. And they were like, wow, you should have more songs. And we were like, yeah, we don't have time. Kaam kar rahe the, shaadi shuda, we were all kind of living our lives. We really didn't have the time. And then what sparked Mauj off as an original thing original like music coming out from it was around 2000 is when I realized I was doing IT work when I realized that computers have become powerful enough to record multi-track.
Yeah.
You know, and वो भी like those were early days of digital recording. Well, digital तो आ गया होता ADAS and all those were digital, but there wasn't no like home studio was not a thing at this point. Like, what do you mean a home studio? Like, how can you record a song? But I realized that this affords me the opportunity not to have to spend like crazy amounts of money and rehearsals before we go into a studio and spend so much money. So what if I try and like record a song at home?
Right.
And that song was Reframe. Well, there was a song before that. One song before that, but that was literally my test dummy. How do I figure this out?
Yeah.
I had a mic and a horrible like sound blaster Audigy type sound card. उसके ऊपर मैंने MIDI एक दूसरे लगा के and I recorded that song and I uploaded it, so it's out there somewhere. But it's very much a super deep cut, man. Most people don't know about it, and I think that was my first time I ever sang on a song. And wait, it was not because I wanted to sing that song. I was just like, hello, check 1, 2, 3. I'm gonna sing this song because I've got this thing. So then I was like, oh, well, this is how MIDI works, and then Atif came in and played some bass parts. I was like, okay, now we have a song. That was how that first dummy track happened. क्या नाम था उसका? It's been so long.
So you never then did a final recording and
उस गाने का final recording because and then this is like a problem a lot of artists have generally is that once you do it, you make a song and you record it. Uske baad, I really don't want to listen to that song anymore. Like I have it out of my system, and then I'm like, ugh. Maybe perform it live, but that's a different thing. Like I don't want to listen back to it because I know it. I don't need to listen to it again. Like if I go somewhere and then I had like a couple of guys come over to my studio the other day, and they came as a after a show, so they were just hanging out. It was like a social visit, not anything like not a work thing at my studio. But they were like old Mauj fans, so they were like, oh, we want to hear those old songs. And I was like, no, I don't want to. But they're insisting, so they go to YouTube and they play it. And then I was just like, I understand you guys have your own memories, your own things to these songs, so that affects your perception of all that. But for me, I was like, yeah, I did it. And I don't think I'm anywhere near the person that I was when I thought of those songs and I did it. I mean, good or for bad, either way, I don't know. I'm not that same person. It's been 15, 16 years. So imagine, so still I'm like, whatever headspace I was in at the time resulted in that music. So then, once I did Reframe, and Reframe was the second song basically, and that's when I got a little bit nicer. That was like my first sound card. I got 4 actual recording, and I was like, wow, serial port goes into the computer, and I can kind of almost record in real time. That was a big thing because how do I get it down to like
latency?
Get rid of the latency, and then we just hit a gigahertz on a computer, right? So it was like 1 gigahertz, and the fan was so loud on it that I was like, oh. So that Reframe was then, and again, I wasn't planning on singing that song. I'm sure someone has recordings of like at least 3 other people trying to sing Reframe. And every time I was like, no, I don't want it. And I've always found a problem was either a singer was too Western or they were too Desi. And I really wanted that balance, so it's not too Western. And obviously, मेरे लहजे की वजह से शायद थोड़ा सा Western आ ही जाता है, but I wanted it to be somewhere right in the middle, so it doesn't sound. Obviously, I wasn't doing any Eastern scales or anything. and I didn't want it to be purely like a Western blues thing. I wanted it to be authentically Urdu. I don't want to just take a Western melody and sing it in Urdu.
Yeah.
I wanted to have a melody that made sense with the words that were coming out, that were, so that was the general and then I was like, okay, I'm going to make a dummy vocal track.
Okay.
So that whoever is a singer can hear it and then kind of try and emulate that. So that
became the final vocal track.
Because then Atif and everyone else was like, "Sahi to hai, tum kya? What are you looking for?"
Yeah.
Like what else? You seem to know exactly what you want. No one else is doing it. You've already sang it now. It sounds good.
It was incredible.
So then I was like, okay. So apparently I'm sure I mentioned singing is not something that I'm generally fond of. I'm not like a front man. I mean, I can be if I'm forced into that position, but I'm like let me just play the guitar on the side, or guitar.
You enjoy your moments with your guitar.
I like to be free to think about my guitar as opposed to thinking about what's the next lyrics. Then that obviously distracts me from like this. I'm like and then because it's not a natural thing. I'm not like a poet. I'm not a lyricist. So remembering lyrics for me are like nightmares. I'm like Urdu mein khas taur pe because I'm like I'm gonna sound like an idiot if I mess this line up. It completely changes the meaning.
But Mauj was a breath of fresh air.
Yeah,
it was incredible.
Plus, I came without any baggage of Pakistani music.
I think that was one of the main reasons.
Because I didn't grow up there, so I didn't have is tarah hona chahiye, us tarah hona chahiye. I was just like, I'm gonna.
And the videos were like, wow.
Yeah, Babar did the video.
Babar did. So we had a mutual friend, Ale. Shout out to Ale Hassan in California. We were old college buddies, so I went to this wedding in Karachi, and my sister and my family's like friends with this really crazy heavy metal guy. I was like a heavy metal guy, so he's like, I think you guys should connect because you're both like these big metalheads. And I was like, cool, yeah. And then he was like, yeah, he makes videos. I was like, that's awesome. So MSN Messenger, I remember I messaged Babar and I was like, yeah, and we kind of connected on. It's like, yeah, Sabbath, yeah, this and that, and thrash, and and so we kind of just talking, and he's like, hey, what are you doing? And I was like, I just made this song. Do you want to hear it? He's like, yeah, let's send it over. And then he's like, dude, the song sounds good. You want to make a video for it? I'll make a video for it cheap, but you have to come to Karachi. Or initially he was like, I'm going to be in the stateside, so if I can come, maybe you guys can pay for my ticket to Houston and we'll shoot a video there. And then for whatever reason that didn't happen. He was back in Karachi and he was like, hey, what's this here? I was like, yeah, I think we're coming. We're going to come. And
get a barbershop ready.
Yeah, and that was one of those last minute kind of aha moments. Is like not the barbershop, it was the first one,
narrow
the room with a weird kind of perspective, and just the pictures of models and stuff. I was like,
it was incredible.
Really cool. I thought that was really cool, and the synchronicity, or the stars aligning. It just so happened he had an idea for the video, and we showed up, and he was like, yeah, I went to the set, and I was like, that's a really small set. It was like that. The place we were playing is like as big as this little balcony that we were, because it was so small. Obviously, we were at a huge film studio, and he gave us a massive place. But the actual set and the camera was like right there, and it was just this big, and I was like, how is this gonna look? He's like, yeah, we've got this weird perspective kind of thing going on. So it just made it look like something that something more than what it was. Like, I was like, wow, that visually just came across completely different from what I was expecting when I was on set. But that was amazing. It was and then so that kind of हम video बना के चले गए, and then Atif I think went back, and then me and Babar were kind of driving around like, well, we need to get this on air somehow. We were talking, we were like, we know there was a mutual friend of ours who happened to be in this
music. Yeah.
in this music, and we were just talking, and we realized we were driving, and Baba was driving, and he was like, yeah, this, I think, who is she, Amber Rana? And I was like, she's like a college friend. I know her like really well. Like we spent like years, with lots of like attended weddings out of town. I mean, we like know each other. He's like, yeah, I was like, that's ridiculous. So we called them up, and she's like, yeah, of course we're gonna play this song. It's a great song. So that's kind of how it happened. Then I left, and then I went back to my job and in the US, and then people started asking for what's next. I didn't even realize because it aired, people were watching.
That's what I wanted to know. That were you expecting it to be this big? It was big.
I don't know how big it was because I wasn't there. So I heard, like Ammi used to say, oh, your video's on TV, I just saw you. I was like, oh, okay, cool, it's playing. And then, but whatever the impact was, I wasn't really that aware of it. But then, what ended up happening is that people started asking, when is the album or when is the next? And we didn't have anything else. Because wait, that was a one-off thing that humne aise just to go see how can we record stuff. That was it. And then people like that next stuff, and I was like, oh, I haven't even considered that. But that's when I was like, okay, I think we should write more songs.
Yeah.
So it took about music karne mein, I think it took about a month to get all the music done, and it took about a year and a half to get all the lyrics done. That was consistent. 2 or 3 times a week we would meet up. We had.
So you wrote all the lyrics yourself, the band?
Not all the lyrics. There were things that either we were inspired by, and some things we completely lifted. Zishan Sahil was a poet that we used a lot. Unfortunately, I think he's passed away. There was some Faz stuff in there, and then mostly my own bongeya is like, I want to talk about Kushfahmi किसी को अगर हुई भी है तो क्या situation होगी. So I had the overarching idea, and then Atif, whose Urdu is like way better than mine, would like kind of fill in the blank. So I was like da 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 da. I want something that goes in this. और उसका मतलब ये होना चाहिए, and it has to kind of resolve in this kind of. So it's a painstaking process, and I'm sure it wasn't fun for Atif because I was very particular about that. And if anyone knows me, I'm very chill about most things. Whatever. But then this, I was like, no, it has to be a certain that fine balance of not too much of this, not too much of that. And there were times like Paheliyan was written all the way completely done. It was called something else. It was a different subject matter as well. And then I remember I scrapped it like 6 months into it, like right before we started to record these songs. I was like, I don't like those lyrics. And I was like, so what are you gonna do? It's like, we're gonna start from scratch. It's like from zero. It's like, that's just, I can't. And then I had that line, Ramza Tere Bin, something like that. I was like, this has to be a part of it. So and then we could construct a whole story from like this one line or word, that fit real nice. And then I was like, okay, now let's make it. So, but and I think that's kind of been the stumbling block since then, because I had a solid lyric writing partner in Atif, and obviously Atif stayed behind in Houston. But since it's so annoying and and I'm so particular about it, most lyricists get very. A lyricist in Pakistan is like, I'll come once, I'll come twice, zyada se zyada, right? And then I need the song to be done and I need to get paid. I mean, that's how any professional would work. I've had called in for a session, but what I need from Mauj is lots of trial and error. Dead ends sometimes come up. Then I'm like, the next is like, it needs to be something else. So most normal people will be like, screw you, I can't. I don't wanna. Tu har din mujhe bula leta hai, and everything we do is like scrapping it the next day. And then you don't make up your mind what is it that you want. So I was like, yeah, but that is my process. I mean, that's how I get to that point of where I would like it to be. So wo karte it people tend to lose interest, and I don't blame them. I mean, these are stories that I've often repeated about the story of Mauj. So yeah, basically, I kind of ended up being a singer when I wasn't a singer, and then that kind of. But I kind of brought my own sensibility. I am, and then at the time, I was very much into like that funk, bluesy kind of feel. Oh man, we got like so. That was Mauj 15 years ago.
So if it comes
as
back
a
now, it's going to be
musician,
completely
different. So I keep warning people. It's like, don't expect. You might not like it because it'll be different. It's not going to be the same. But I mean, obviously, and then I'm like keeping in mind, okay, it has to. There's certain parameters that Mauj has. They need to continue. Lekin,
will you get back together with your friend Atif?
If the opportunity comes across, like obviously I've got in Pakistan, I've got Aziz playing the drums, Aziz Qazi on drums, and Anas Salam Khan on bass.
Okay.
So they're fantastic musicians. So as a musical unit,
Yeah.
that's pretty much solid. But as a songwriting,
Somebody who gets you and
So then that'll happen. But I'd have to go to Houston, or he'd have to come to Karachi, because it would be a process,
Yeah.
So ab wo kis tarah hota hai, that can't really say. But we have started like jamming and kind of making notes of ideas and कि हम ये कर सकते हैं, वो कर सकते हैं. So that's kind of happening, and then slow going. So I don't make any promises, and then that's why I'm always so hesitant to like people. If someone asks, so what's happening, I'm like, I don't know. So I give a vague answer, because immediately the next day, कहीं ना कहीं वो print पे लिखा होता है कि oh, the new album's being worked on. I was like, I don't know what the new album's working on. अगर वो होगा तो होगा. I don't know when it's gonna happen. So I mean,
no, you've got your plate full. I mean, with your studio.
Yeah, with the studio,
with
and then
Cokestudio, with Junoon.
Yeah, it's.
Yeah. How did Junoon came in the picture? Because of Ali.
Because of Ali, yeah. And Ali was like a. I think and I think the guys basically wanted like a slightly bigger sound, not just the stripped down. Which I mean, I honestly love the stripped down sound, but they were like, let's have some backing vocalists, let's have a violinist. We have a violinist, and then it was like, okay, you should have another guitar player who's kind of supporting the basic ideas जो musically चल रहे हैं. So and then I think Ali तो अपने भाई की तरह, तो he was like, you need to make Omran's got to be on the roster for this. And I was like, yeah, and honestly, it's almost like full circle. I mean, my journey for this whole thing started with Junoon, watching them in '95. I mean, I was a fan of their music before. It's when I saw them live in '95.
They've got another level of energy, and
back then, and even you get that sometimes when the three of them are in the flow.
Yeah,
it's like there's like magical stuff happening, and as a fan, I mean, that's what I'm looking for. Or when I saw that live for the first time, I immediately became a massive fan, and almost 20 years after that moment, I'm on stage with them playing. So wow. It's definitely like a full circle type thing. It's like, wow, it somehow I ended up on stage with these guys through whatever process.
I remember when so I had a band around the late 90s.
Yeah.
Right up to I think 2011. All underground, all covers mostly. And then at one point in time, so we started basically, and I'm proud of saying this, started off taking music seriously after Junoon.
Yeah.
So although Zeppelin was there, everything was there in the influences, but then when you see somebody homegrown get to that
and
level,
you see what can be done with like local stuff. That was the eye opener.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, there's so much that.
And then for me, a magic happened when I was by chance at that time. Junoon was recording in Kalab, This was 95 at in Karachi at Amerson Studio, and I had the sound engineer was a friend. So I used to go there and try to learn the sound engineering bits and the studio stuff. And one day I just knock on the door and Brian opens the door. I'm like, what? Like, oh shit! And then I was like, what are you doing here? He's like, what are you doing here?
What are you doing?
So
I'm working.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm working.
Yeah. So then I basically had a little bit of I spent a little bit of time during those recordings, and they were in the process of recording Husn Walo.
Wow. Oh, you were there.
I was
you
there.
Were there at the recording?
Yeah, sitting right next to Salman Ahmed, and
That's
the whole thing coming together,
Yeah.
and that really kicked it off. I said, dude, this is it.
This is how you
This
do
is
it.
it. This is how you do it.
Wow. So you saw, what were they tracking at the time?
They were
Okay.
the backing rhythms, that part,
Wow.
and oof. And I remember, and I understood for the firsthand, the problems and the complications that you can have in the studio. So I remember vividly, right now even, that there was a specific hum that was coming. And Brian and Salman went crazy trying to troubleshoot it, and the sound engineer Rowdy as well. And they were like, maybe this cable is bent, maybe there's some earth here and there, and blah blah blah. And then at one point in time, Brian was like, if I also hold your guitar like Salman
It's okay.
while you're playing, then it's okay.
Yeah,
Then
so
let me
that's-
put my
that's how
hand
we're
on that.
recording,
That's
yeah.
how we'll record. Man,
Can you
like,
imagine? Can you
imagine.
And then,
so when I formed a band, we of course immediately started playing Junoon covers.
yeah.
And at one point in time, we got pretty known for it.
Yeah.
And I used to always imagine, how do these guys do with just one guitar,
Yeah.
one bass, and the sound is so
Massive.
full,
Yeah, massive.
you know?
Well, I mean, that's what we're trying to do with Chanta Orchestra, is like keep it very
Yeah,
minimal.
yeah.
But somehow make it sound big. I think I found the less is more concept works for rock and roll music.
Yeah.
कम
You get that
बजाएं,
raw and the
लेकिन tone के हिसाब से, and you build into certain things and you leave spaces and
Yeah.
you leave quiet parts and those are like things that I learned while watching these guys. It was like, and then you listen to like a Van Halen track from the 80s. You're like, this song is listened to by millions of people, and it just has one guitar on it.
Yeah.
It's not double track, it's not triple track. Puri dunya mein this song is
And now like the
still
go-to,
being played
yeah.
constantly, and it's like, and that's a technique wise for studio technique. Another thing that the computer, the DAW revolution, the
Yeah.
DAW wale jo DAW, what it brought was unlimited tracks,
Yeah.
which was impressive when I heard it in the 90s, because it meant कि बड़ी effort लगी है to then make this song sound with so many multi-tracks. So at the time I was like, wow, it's got like 500 guitars, it's crazy, they must have put in so much effort. And then the digital thing comes in, and it's anyone can just put in 500 tracks.
Yeah.
Just another track, add another track, add another track, pa 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 pa, add another track, pa 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 pa, and you can have as many. So then it stopped being impressive, right?
Yeah.
As a studio technique, I was like, man, so what? Anyone can do that.
Yeah.
Not.
But then you don't do that in Cokestudio.
No, we're not overdubbing. But
Man.
But wait, my point being that I realized that the production technique that now impresses me is कम से कम instruments, maximum output in like कि उसका effect कितना ज़्यादा है.
Right.
So I was like, it should be one guitar track that goes through all the phases of the song without having to add like an extra distorted guitar on top. या उसकी melody होगी. So rhythm, melody, lead, solo, one track.
Wow.
That's the Chantara, I
Yeah.
think. But that's a parameter I've set for myself. And just like I was talking about need and necessity, when you set parameters and you say, I can't overdub, then I have to play differently.
Yeah.
I have to approach the song differently.
Yeah.
I have to record it differently. पहले तो ये होता था, okay, just play the rhythm part.
Yeah.
Rhythm part, da 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 da. Okay, now play some distorted parts.
Yeah.
Da 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 da. Play some distorted parts. And now play the guitar solo. Da da da.
Yeah.
Teen track, alag tones, all that stuff. Was like no.
So you have consciously said that.
Consciously said that one instrument has that one track for that. Ab uske saath I might add like 5 different layers, but that's the track is the same. I'll double it, maybe stereo wide, you know, throw it on the other side, add some crazy effects to it or something, just to keep things interesting. Lekin wo guitar ek hi baj raha hai, and so that's something that I've kind of you know, that's my different approach from Mauj. And another thing when I was talking about early Mauj being tight and funky, super tight, I was like, oh, tight, it's gotta be tight and on the grid, click track pe chalna hai. And now, because of my full experiences with Coke and with Junoon and playing with Ali and just generally having done this for the last 15 years, I'm at a point where I like it kind of loose. I like it kind of improvised. I don't necessarily need it to be like stop on a dime or ta 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 ta. I don't need that. You know, I mean, I've done it, I've seen it, I've enjoyed it, but now I enjoy like just kind of playing loosely with, you know, like a groove chal raha piche and then, you know, the other things are happening. So musically I wouldn't say I've evolved, I've just gone in a different direction, you know, and then so when people say, "Getcha, what's the next Mauj?" Like I was like, it's gonna be something
switch lanes
like
again.
different. So that's learnings, you know, that's what you kind of figure out as you go along.
When did you decide to take music seriously, like a full-time profession?
When I moved to Pakistan. Usse pehle 10 years of non-professional playing. Non-professional in the sense that I spent most of my college years, all the weekends, while everybody else was out partying and everything, I would rehearse.
Oh, okay.
Rehearse with my band. With the bunch of goras that I used to play with, and with that prog rock science fiction thing. So Friday night I would go there like around 6 or 7 and jam until 11, 12 at night. Friday night, so this is like when everyone else is going out. Saturday morning, 11 o'clock till about 6 or 7. Sunday also around 11. I was like, we would almost do it like the 3 days of the whole weekend.
Wow.
Just play music. And didn't make a single dime in America while I did this. I've recorded at least one album with this band, one album with the Opry, and played countless shows. Never got paid for it. I think the maximum the band got paid at one point was like $20, and I was like,
wow.
This will cover our gas. Back then that would cover up to $20. This won't cover anything. So that was like the most we made, and so I was professional in the sense that my approach and my enthusiasm for music was such that I would forego socializing with people or doing it to do that, you know. So that was like definitely passion work at that time. But professionally, when I had the Mauj album in my hand and I was like, okay, now I'm going to quit my job.
Wow.
Oh.
Move to Pakistan and do only music, start to finish. Din subah utha, do music, sham tak, if I can. I mean, that's the goal. That was my idea.
Did you know at that point in time that it's not that easy in Pakistan?
Yeah, of course I knew it, but when you're a little cocky back, you know, when you're younger. And I was,
you want to wing it, yeah.
Yeah, I was a little like, we'll do it, you know.
And you were married?
I was married at the time. So मैंने अपनी बिचारी, the wife was she's Mexican American, so she'd never been to Pakistan really. I never lived in Pakistan.
कहाँ लेके जा रहे हो मुझे?
So she was like, what's going on? But she's, you know, super supportive, and she understood that, you know, okay, obviously you really like doing this, so let's see how far it can
Who
go.
said yay and who said nay?
Well,
when you were moving to Pakistan, who was like, yay? And
well, I was yay, she was nay, obviously. She was like, why? I mean, because I was going to do music, which was like my thing.
Did you have things like lined up there, and did you have any sort of projects lined up? Nothing. You just like.
No, I mean, I came back, but I knew Ali Noor, I knew Hamza Jafri, I knew Mikal Hassan, I knew Ali Azmat, I knew a lot of people in the business. In fact, it's like Mikal and Ali Noor and Hamza, they're the ones who kind of...
They convinced you.
2001, there's that media boom happening in Pakistan. All of a sudden, Noori was breaking, MHB was breaking, everyone was playing shows. तो उनकी कोई messages और ये calls जो भी आती थी, they're like, scene on है यहाँ. Why did you come?
Scene on था वाकई.
So that's when I was like, oh yeah, let's do this. So I was like, जल्दी से ये album करते हैं. And then, so I was planning, I was like, ये 1 साल, 1.5 साल के अंदर I want to be able to get to Karachi and kind of do this full time. But lined up to nahi kuch tha. I was like, okay, there's Mauj album. I would like to do a Mauj video at some point, which was that Kushfahmi aa chuki thi. I was looking to do Pahelian's video at that time. So I was like, acha, I gotta gather the funds for that, line that up, and then maybe get some session work starting. Because the goal was to, I was like, I don't want to go to Pakistan and then get a job so I can pay the bills and then do music on the side. I was like, if I'm going to Pakistan, I'm going to try and do music. Alhamdulillah, I mean, I've done it for the last
so many years.
15 years almost, survived purely on the music angle. So I got there and but within the course of 6 months, I think हमने काफी shows भी जाना शुरू कर दिए. Coven भी चल रहा था उन दिनों, Mauj भी चल रहा था. So we were constantly jamming.
Coastal था. Coastal came in a little later.
But Coastal happened around the same time Mauj was being recorded, and that was like just एक दो गाने, एक initial गाना हुआ था, and then we tried like other songs.
Sound अच्छा था.
Oh, it was that was Taha Malik's brainchild basically. So he stayed back as well. I was in it. So Coastal, didn't move forward at that point.
But there were music channels also, and there was a lot of things happening.
Unfortunately, when I got to Pakistan, like 2005, 2006, it kind of went downhill. And with security system, the stability of the country basically was like...
Happened to us too, so...
Yeah, and then all of a sudden I was like, oh, the show's dried up.
Literally.
Nothing is, and then thank God, Ali called, he's like, I'm looking for a guitar player, you want to do it? I was like, yes, yes please, can we do this? So I mean, apart from the fact that I was a huge Ali Asmat fan, like a huge Junoon fan, I was like, I already know all the songs. On a couple of the solo songs that I was like, we learn. I love these songs, so I'll just learn it. Show me the chord. So that happened, and then ended up recording the album. And soon after, I got the call from. Similarly, I was like, "This is re010." I was like, calling me. Okay, yes. How can I help you? He's like, I heard the Clash Book album, and I was like, whoa, okay, cool. And then he's like, "To project aa raha hai, so would you be interested?" Like, what? I was like, yes. I think I would be interested. I'd want to do it. And that turned out to be Cokestudio. And then
what a journey,
the whole thing started. Then 11 years later, here we are.
So there's I always ask my guests, and usually this is where we start. is
now the podcast started. That finally, this was just a preamble.
And the reason being, so the thing is, for people listening, the idea is to prove it to them, to show them the way, to show them the motivation and inspiration with examples that people have made.
I think that age-old adage, Urdu mein kehte hain na, harkat mein barkat, is just take that step. And the universe takes 2 steps towards you to try and make it happen. And situations can change, and maybe you don't end up. Honestly, I didn't end up. When I moved to Pakistan, I was like band, and I want to do the band thing. But that's not how it turned out. It turned out Cokestudio thing. I was like, oh, okay. That's how it worked out. Mauj never really made that much money. So then that kind of fizzled out, and it didn't make money probably because my own non-attention to it, or I was sick of the album. Album was released 4 years after it was made. Everyone had already heard the songs. They heard all the demos. The album came out, it's like, we have all these songs. Alright, so mismanagement on all those parts, and I think I'm to blame for the lack of, I think. I found other things that were creatively satisfying, that were financially satisfying. So then Mauj kind of became like we'll get to it when we get to it.
Mm-hmm.
But wait, you can't predict how.
Yeah.
You know how you're saying what was your point actually? What were you saying?
No, my point was exactly this: motivation and inspiration.
Motivational.
Yeah, so that people should go out and live their dreams, try and live their dreams.
Totally.
Yeah.
There's no.
It's
reason.
worth it, and it's worth the effort.
Yeah,
at the end of the day.
It always is. And wait, I think it's take that step and do it, and you'll find it comes to you. But wait, don't just sit in your bedroom and hope. कि कुछ हो जाएगा. There's lots of good musicians thinking that no one's ever heard them because they, for whatever reason, aren't stepping out of the bedroom.
Was resigning from your job in America, was that difficult? Did you sit on it?
It was great.
Liberating.
It was so liberating. I was like, oh, that feels so good. And it wasn't for any other reason than, I mean, I love the guys I worked with. I liked my job. It paid really well. There was no like, you know, I wasn't like, oh, what is my life at this
exactly,
point?
Yeah.
But it was just like, oh, I have to do this. You know, I've got this album. I've got to give this a shot.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it'll be a regret. I mean, I'll always be like, what if, how would it go, you know?
It's like the strings coming together after so many years,
Just to
give it that one shot, and they never looked back.
They never look back. Yeah.
So yeah,
Well, I remember what happened with my resignation from my job was my manager came and she was like, you know, we really like you and we're thinking of, you know, promoting you to like, because I was like a technical like IT guy, and they were like, we want you to kind of come into management at this point, so it'll be, you know, a different category for you. You're definitely like moving up at this point. And I kind of looked, and she had like, you know, a belt with like 5 pagers, and the pagers ka zamana tha, and then like a couple of cell phones and chabiyan and all this stuff. And I was like, here comes another plane. Wow, I think that's the same plane. I think that's like a tourist
doing rounds, tourist plane, seaplane.
And there it goes. And then so I was like, you know, actually I was thinking if I could go part-time for the next 6 months, and I think I'm going to quit after that. She was staring at my face. She's like, that's not the answer I was expecting. Okay. So that was it. I was like, went part-time for 6 months, and then I was like, okay, I'm out. And you know, they were like, oh well, okay. If that's what you want to do, they're like, you're moving back to Pakistan. I was like, yeah, I'm moving back to Pakistan to do it.
Are you serious?
Yeah, they were like, dude,
what's wrong with you?
Promotion, and you're like quitting.
Yeah.
So I was like, yeah, I don't want like 5 guchas of chabis on my belt and pagers and doing that. I don't want to get into that. So I was like, I gotta have, you know, if I have to, I do it. But this is something that I really want to do. So they were like, okay, fine. So that's how. But felt great. It felt great.
Leaving something to do, embracing
to do something that I felt strongly about. But you know, I mean, taking it's easy to say that follow your dreams, but wait, like Atif would have loved to have moved to Pakistan and pursue the scene, but you know, he had responsibilities. He was about to have his first child. He was also taking care of his family. So, and then he was like, should I move to Pakistan? I was like, yeah, I'm married, but I don't have any kids. I'm the youngest in my family. I'm not supporting anybody.
Right.
You know? So if I have to sleep on the floor at some point and I'm not making any money, it's on me. I don't have anyone else to worry about. You know, Eva takes care of herself. She's a grown woman. So, but then I don't know if that works for you.
Yeah.
Will you be able to sleep on the floor and you have a baby crying?
Yeah.
On the floor with you? Can you handle that? And then we used to think, I can, right? The timing isn't right at this point.
Yeah.
So, you know, and I'm sure that obviously kind of weighed heavily on him, but he had to make a choice. And then you have to make the choice that at the time works for you. So, it's like I said,
it's always
situation, circumstance, but if you are given the opportunity, and I think you should grab it. If you're fortunate enough to have a path laid out before you that can lead you to fulfilling your dreams, then you should definitely embark on that. Agar opportunity comes across, and don't let fear or other people. Because other people are the worst.
Log
kya kahenge.
Other people are the worst. Other people always.
So what do you say to teenagers or early 20 boys or girls who come to you and they say that this is what we want to do, but
initially I कहता don't get into this. After that warning, I was like, देखो.
But that's I think to judge how dedicated and passionate they are.
Yeah, that is almost like I don't mean to be negative, but I also I'm pragmatic about these things. I'm like, not everyone is going to be a rock star. For every one rock star, there's 1,000 other guys who wanted it. And maybe are more deserving. Are more talented.
Yes.
But the timing wasn't right. The situation wasn't right. Family situation wasn't right. Jo bhi wajah thi.
So have you heard Nescafe Basement?
Sure.
So like the kids there and the talents that they have, it's incredible. And
Definitely.
I have yet to see ek to shayad aaye honge, but most of them are just they do a couple of songs and then they fade away. There's no
I think ek do hain jo ke now they're being
after
they're
5
doing their own
seasons.
stuff.
But
But you're right. Largely
With Nescafe is mostly more niche. It's more Western rock oriented as well. तो वही अब Western rock की market पाकिस्तान में, India में, it's way smaller than the standard like Cokestudio के कोई folk गाना होगा तो उसका universal.
वहाँ Cokestudio से वो twins निकले हैं ना, the Leo brothers.
That's
the
Nescafe.
The Nescafe Basement. What talented boys.
All the guys that show up, they're young and hungry and talented. So all that is there. The getting out there, that's a whole different.
And it's not as easy now.
It's a music management, artist management is a whole different field that people go to school for in the West.
Yes.
There's an industry built around it.
True.
So and I think like a true artist generally is probably the worst person
in management.
क्योंकि उनके दिमाग तो बादलों में होते हैं. They're just like dreaming all day long. They're not the guys that it's like, oh, let's get but you need someone like that around you to go, like Atif has his brothers or like managers, and there's people
Atif's brothers have been managing him from the get-go.
But it helps to have someone who's
level-headed
business-minded or who's like marketing savvy, थोड़ा सा उस किस्म की चीजें, image building, all these things are which Pakistan में there's no like officially those वही अपने का भांजे को रख लिया या भाई को रख लिया, so it's like a family business. Why? Because you can trust them. You can't even really trust family at the end of the day when that much money is involved. But you gotta take a chance on somebody. Do they know what they're doing? Yeah, sometimes.
Sometimes it's luck also.
They're business minded, but generally I think artists. So you can't expect all the bichare young guys to kind of know how to navigate, the thing. I mean, I went through it myself. I didn't know how to navigate the music industry when I got there, or even to this day. I can't, it's like that's not my forte. I don't know. Management is so. You need someone who's passionate about that, taking care of an artist, and there are people like that. You just have to find that, one solid, reputable person, trustworthy, and let them take care of that stuff. You do your stuff. You do the best you can with what you have. So I think my advice to young guys is like, if you're willing to make sacrifices, if you feel strongly enough about it, and it's not just throw some money at it and you're famous. I think a lot of people are like, bas video bana do, send it out, make a nice song, you'll be a hit. Oh man, it involves so much more. It's like making the right music, the right interesting thing at the right time, and disseminating it the right way.
Yeah.
Or Pakistan ko, what channels are there now for music?
Nothing.
Listening? You know, the
I think it's in a way it is much better now. You've got Patari, you've got YouTube, of course. Those are free platforms. I think but you're right. I mean,
if you make a niche,
that has also grown into a much tighter competition, you know. So everybody has access to Pataris and the YouTube of the world.
See, everyone puts crap up now, whether it's good
Literally,
or bad. So now, at least back then, it might have been harder, but there was some sort of filter.
Yeah.
Even if the filter was wrong, even if I didn't agree with the music guys, कि कौन से video चला रहे, but at least someone was saying कि yes, no, yes, no, I like this, I don't like this, you know. Up it's like, here's everyone's ideas. And you get thrown so much stuff, and I'm like, I don't have the time to sift through the good and the bad.
And the ugly.
And the ugly sometimes. So
there are videos for that.
It's become so much harder to you know, I need curated stuff that says this is the cream of the crop. Which is why I think Cokestudio has become so popular. It's like people just go to it to see, here's a new singer, he's on Cokestudio, let's follow him.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, okay, there's this type of music happening, these kawals are great, let's follow them.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, so they go, and that's like the one place where they can say cream of the crop will show up here eventually. So hum inko sunte hain, you know, and everyone else, and that's why people are so desperate trying to get on Cokestudio. And main unko, you know, it's a common enough question, how can I get on Cokestudio? I was like, you shouldn't worry about getting on to Cokestudio. You should be worried about getting Cokestudio to want you to come on.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the reverse. You know, don't worry about trying to get on to Cokestudio. Don't make songs so you can get on Cokestudio. Make songs that Cokestudio is like, we need to have that on our show because it's so good. You know, so that's the other. It's like, don't follow current trends. You make your trend. You know, when Junoon started, I remember एक दो जो college के जो that weren't getting into the Junoon का ये क्या जोर से guitar बजा रहे हैं. I like the vital change or the more
soothing,
keyboard and softer desi type stuff, and you know, we like that. And you know, eventually Junoon became Junoon, and everyone was like, we like that. But so they carved the way. It took them 4 albums to do it. So carve your way, you know, make an identity for yourself. Don't try to be a Cokestudio artist, be an artist of your own right, and then, you know, instead of trying to get there, have them come to you. And then, you know, that's when getting on Cokestudio pays off. When you are an individual, unique person. Because so many people have come on Cokestudio that also came and went.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
They didn't sustain it, they didn't keep the momentum going.
One hit wonder kind of thing.
So it happens in SK, but it happens to all of them.
Yeah.
So you gotta have to be a person that Coca-Cola will say, I want you to be you know, an ambassador for us, or I want you to be on our show because you're so popular or you're so good at that. So take that step, make the best of your situations, make the best of what you can do. Understand your weaknesses. That's very important.
That's very, very important,
Know your strengths and understand that management agar aapki game nahi hai, don't waste time too much on it. I'm not a numbers guy. Let's not pretend that I am. Let's get someone on board. Delegate that stuff to somebody else. Do what you're good at. And whatever you do, don't try to. And that's the other thing. I was like, लोग कहते यार एक मैं भंगड़ा गाना बनाऊंगा, एक मैं सूफी गाना बनाऊंगा, एक मैं folk song है, and then एक ये मेरा rock song है, ये मेरा pop song है. And I was like कि तो आप कौन है? आपकी क्या है? You know, and I was like कि अगर he's like you
ये नहीं चला तो वो चल जाएगा, वो नहीं तो
अब वो ये hedging about, लेकिन अगर आपका भंगड़ा गाना hit हो गया, now for the rest of your life you have to do that bhangra ka gana, and then everyone wants more Bhangra songs from and wo tune, because you're not actually a Bhangra artist, it's difficult to do that, right? How do you sustain that as a career for like 30-40 years? So you have to be true to yourself. Agar aap, and then accept कि uska, there's so many like heavy metal prog bands in Pakistan that are super cool and amazing.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I'm glad you guys are doing this music because I enjoy it, and you guys seem to be having fun. But I don't know if you should be expecting to make any money out of this, because that you're playing a niche thing. You have 1% of 1% of Pakistan is going to be listening to this.
Yeah.
Mostly other musicians, and they ain't going to pay you nothing because they don't have any money. So, what are you gonna? How long is this gonna last? Some band members gonna get married. Some band members gonna go abroad. They find more.
Jimmy
work,
quit and Joey got married.
Yeah, that's the high school stuff happened.
Yeah.
So all these great bands, and I'm like, unless you can make this a financially viable scheme, it's eventually going to.
It's at the end of the day, then it
fade out.
Yeah.
It will fade out. So be prepared for that, and accept that, because if you're still making music for yourself, and unless you are also able to do pop music, you're also into but authenticity for me is more important. So if you're a metal dude, I think you should play metal. And not worry about then at that point of making money from it. But you should be clear.
Yeah.
There's not going to be, don't think I'm going to be a big rock star in Pakistan playing this like super crazy, complicated stuff.
Yeah.
Because the average person doesn't want to listen to that, and then getting paid from that is a
The perfect example is, imagine if John Petrucci comes to Pakistan.
Yeah,
nobody's gonna listen.
There'll be 20 people showing up with the guitar players, and nobody else, because no one would care.
Yeah.
But that's like John Petrucci fans would be on the floor. You go and so know your audience as well, know yourself, know your culture that you're in. Singing in English definitely in Pakistan. I'm like, do it if that's how you get your.
Yeah. But you never know what might hit or click. Like with Zeb and Hania, their music was so different.
Right? Different is not the problem.
Yeah.
Their music was different, but it was ethnic oriented.
Yeah.
Also, they
it has to align with the market, no?
They had something that captivated the mass appeal. एक जो होती वो थी उनकी. Even though they were approaching it from a fresh angle, but that is what you need to do.
Yeah.
Zeb and Hania were a perfect example of making your own kind of sound, and they had the image of like two Pathan girls.
Yeah.
One plays an acoustic guitar, one's singing. So all of it combined
was amazing.
Made the feel of it.
Yeah.
And that's what you
do. You feel that there's a revival of music in Pakistan? Because there was a lot of music, and then there was nothing for a long time.
Yeah, I don't think there was nothing. It's just that it was hard to find.
Yeah.
And it's still
there were no
case,
concerts, there were no channels, there was just the radio channels, and
concerts have picked up, but it is a battered industry. So
people packed up, they left.
A lot of people left, a lot of people still leaving.
Yeah.
It's the instability in the country.
Yeah. So is the music scene better in Lahore or is it better in Karachi? The age-old question.
I think Punjabi artists tend to, for me, because they have they're surrounded by greenery and beauty and everything, and they, I think, tend to be more interesting.
Yeah.
So the guys from Lahore, I think that I've always said, if you want to make money from the music,
Yeah.
Karachi.
Okay.
If you want to find like real talent. Like hidden gems and stuff, Lahore.
Okay.
Lahore has it, and even Islamabad. I mean, all the bands, Junoon, initially came there, but then settled in Karachi, and then they made it. So it's like if you want to make it from you gotta leave the Punjab area and come to this Sindh and Karachi, and then from there you can use it as a launching pad into the thing. But that's how a lot of these guys, Ali did it, Ali Azmat, Najm Shiraz, all these guys came from.
Where is Najm Shiraz?
Najm Shiraz is, I think he's in the UK now. Still does it, but he's got his market and he kind of does it. But he was another guy who kind of tried just about everything to see what would stick.
Yeah.
But he was trying everything because he liked all of those things. So these are all.
And he could do it. Even his vocal ranges, he could.
Amazing, He was such a fantastic singer.
And Sajjad Ali.
He can do everything.
That reminds me, I gotta go meet Sajjad by today or tomorrow at some point.
Yeah.
So.
Very few people can sing as effortlessly as Sajjad Ali and.
Phenomenal.
Sajjad Bhai, sir is a master basically. He's reached that level. I think he reached that level when he was 10.
Yeah. Seriously, when Sajjad Ali sings, you can feel the other people making an effort and going a little red. When Sajjad Ali is singing, he's like, twinkle twinkle little star. It's like
I've always said the true masters, like kung fu movies, you'd see the young, aggressive hero and everything, and he wants to be like, so he's like always jumping and doing all this stuff. But then he'd come across like a real master, like blind dude with a mustache, those old kung fu movies. Or that he baitha hoga, and he can't even see anything, and he just like lift a hand, and the dude will go flying over 20 feet. I was like, that's the master.
That's the master.
The master doesn't do all the jumps and the acrobatics. He's just like chilling.
Yeah.
But he's so powerful, like one thing that he does, and everyone's like, floored. They're like, wow.
That guy is incredible.
That's always kind of my test or the gauge of I was like, when you're doing it without trying to showboat, without trying to be.
When it's
that's
so
a real master.
effortlessly done, and with such finesse and.
See, and those are the things that I love about, more simplistic forms of music, such as, I say simplistic, it's not simplistic at all, blues. Blues is generally, 12-bar blues, 3 chords, for the most part.
Yeah.
There are 1,000 different versions of those 3 chords. And a true master knows all of them. Yeah. But that takes a lifetime to learn as well. You're like, okay, the Chicago shuffle, the New York blues shuffle, the Texas shuffle is different. The Mississippi blues are different. They do different substitutions. All these things, those are subtleties that are in the art form. Yeah. That on the surface seems like, ये तो हम बचपन में सीख रहे थे the blues. ये तो 3 chord हैं. इनके तो it's so easy, just all
scale याद कर लिया.
इसके तो क्या करते हैं? I'm like, within those 3 chords,
there's a universe.
I can play a chromatic scale of every note that exists. Yeah. At some point within those 3 chords. So those are. That means you can literally improvise any kind of that. So unending, limitless possibilities with just those 3 bluesy chords that you end up playing. So essentially, my point being कि आप इतनी depths के अंदर जा सकते हैं without having to make things so complicated and everything. Simplest things tend to be the most effective anyways.
Yeah. Great. Thank you, Omran.
You're welcome.
Thank you for taking the time out. I know you've got a busy one. Yeah. Tomorrow you're heading back.
No, it's not busy at all. We were on vacation. I was the last 2 days. This was nice. I was like, let's actually do something constructive. I'm taking notes, like I said. So
I'll send over whatever you want. These are I'm just winging it.
Wait, we're all winging it.
Yeah.
That's how
you can see very basic.
I winged it when we were writing songs.
Yeah.
I winged it every night I get on stage. I was like, let's just do this.
So you can see we have 3 cameras, completely different color signs. So it takes some time to color grade that.
Color grade that.
And then and then the most basic setup. We've got the phones here. You know?
See that color grading, I
So-
just realized has to happen to make it look consistent.
Yeah.
It's great.
So yeah, Canon is the master.
Intricacies. So when you लोग गाना सुनते हैं, they're like 15 seconds के अंदर they decided to like it, they don't like it,
Yeah.
turn it off. But I'm like, the
The
heartache,
hours,
not
yeah,
just the
months.
heartache, but there's the technical issues, the लोग रो रहे हैं कि यार ये क्यों नहीं हो रहा,
Uh,
or the technical problems. Oh shit, we recorded that
Yeah.
take. It was the best take. We didn't
We didn't
record it
record
properly,
it.
or it got deleted. Oh, it'll never be that good again. It'll never be that good again. So all these like insane little decisions you have to make
Yeah.
to make something.
Yeah.
And then
And then people judge it so.
Yeah. And
easily.
so I'm
And callously. I think they're callously.
It is shallow, but I don't blame them as well. It's not their fault that you took 6 months to make a song, as opposed to someone who does it in a week and everyone loves it. But
When Ali Azmat's album came out, Circus,
Social Circus,
Social
yeah.
Circus, people were like,
ये क्या है? हाँ.
but
Eventually, and then
my
जुनून वाली बात
God.
नहीं है.
well, it's not
ये
Junoon,
क्या
but
कर दिया?
yeah, he
it
went
was
into certain different
oh
things.
my God.
And for me, always the final shot is the music that I hear and I instantly like for the first time. उसको मैं 5 दफा सुनूंगा and then I'll never listen to it.
Exactly.
The stuff that I didn't get initially, and then for whatever reason, it's happened कि I don't like this band, और 5 साल बाद अचानक से it clicks.
It clicks.
Yeah.
And then those are the bands that you're like, oh my god, now I get it, and I love these guys.
Exactly.
So those are the long-term kind of listening things that are those albums. Like the first time I listened to the album was like, the first time I listened to Azadi, I didn't like it because I was like, where's Inqilab
Because
ka rock and roll?
it was different, yeah, it was
There's
completely
no
different
drums,
sound.
there's no electric guitars. ये क्या
Yeah.
उन्होंने कर दिए? तो Indian गाने बजा रहे हैं, acoustic guitar पे, ढोलक पे. Where's the rock and roll stuff, yeah? And then 3 days into it, I was
And
like,
then-
oh, this is what a ballsy move to do
Oof.
Wow.
for a rock band. To
Yeah.
be like, yeah, we're not gonna use drums, dude. No
Yeah.
drums.
Yeah.
Just acoustic 12 strings and,
Yeah.
and electric, barely any electric guitars. What a ballsy move.
Yeah.
And the songs were fantastic, and I was like, wow, blew my mind. And that's taking a risk and kind of acing it. They aced it.
True.
So
Now we have 2 boys, 10
Yeah.
and 12, and they're Junoon fans.
You met Ziad.
yeah, he came to this
Yeah.
video.
Yeah, so
He's
they're-
playing drums these days.
Is he playing
Yeah.
drums? Awesome.
Yeah. He's gonna have his first gig inshallah next month.
Wow. He's playing gigs.
His school gig. I mean,
How old is
that's
he?
fine. He's
He's
12.
12.
Wow, man.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
good.
He thinks that he can do Sweet Child of Mine. I say
On
things
drums?
on drums.
Well, sure. I mean,
He does
I-
it. He does it. He's pretty
I-
good at it.
You don't
I
think you don't think he's capable?
he's
of
still
it?
my baby. I changed his diapers. I
You're
don't think
like,
he'll ever
"Oh,
be
you're
capable.
dead,
I'll be there, dupatta sar pe duaएं, so that he doesn't.
Yeah. No, it's 12 years. How long has he been at it now?
Drums? 1.5 years.
Acha.
This time.
Nice.
Yeah.
Drums is a great instrument to start off with.
Yeah.
It's a nice
Would you have
foundation.
your kids to learn any instrument?
She Alice took some piano classes, but not that she hates music, but she's not a
Indifferent.
performer. She's
Okay.
not really like
Mhm.
the younger one is.
Okay.
The younger one is a bit of a ham. I mean, she likes to be
Okay.
the center of attention. She likes to be in front of a camera. She
Uh-huh.
likes to dance. She likes
Oh,
to
that's
sing.
nice. Yeah.
She will be making up songs, just kind of,
Uh-huh.
walking around. If she's in the shower, you hear her singing
Mm.
constantly, like at her
Oh, wow, that's
top,
nice.
and then
How old is she?
6.
Oh wow.
So she's into ballet and everything. So she's a performer. So I can tell, okay,
Mm.
I think she'll go in a direction that, and the older one's kind of like, well, that's her thing. So I let her do it. I'll do my own thing, which she's like, I like to read. I like to,
The firstborns
So
are useless.
she's a bit more studious and
Yeah.
kind of straight laced. Which yeah, that happens. Younger ones are a little wilder, so the younger ones are a little wilder.
So
So I don't force them. But if they show an interest, I'm like, I don't want to color your perception. I don't want to say that, and I don't necessarily think I want them to be in the music industry, especially girls in Pakistan, and not just girls in Pakistan, girls anywhere in the music industry. It's tough. It's tougher.
Yeah.
Because they have to deal with like a whole extra layer of filth that comes at them. Like all musicians have to deal with it, but there's an extra layer of stuff that you have to. And I'm like that I don't want to have to, and even if I had a son with, I would be wary of them. I was like, okay, you have to be sure if you want to do this. Don't let me influence your. So if I'm like, okay, I see that she really wants to do this, then I'll be like,
of course,
sure, have a guitar,
you have your insights, you have
a keyboard, and sometimes I'll record demos with them.
So the younger one has music in her, basically.
I think she's more musically inclined.
Yeah.
She's more rhythmically inclined, but not to say the other one does. She does as well. She's just not as
expressive,
performative about it.
Yeah.
So my husband is such a Junoon. When my son was born, and so
now
at least again.
stories.
So when my son was born, pehle to azan. And then next, there was a laptop. I'm talking about 2007.
He was playing Junoon music?
Yes.
The second thing they heard was a
Second,
Junoon song.
like,
That's awesome.
what is this app? Why?
What song?
Yeah.
You don't remember?
I don't remember it specifically.
No, it was that Azadi type thing.
Sayuni?
No.
It was from the Azadi.
Oh, Azadi, like
Azadi album.
Junoon's type.
No, the Azadi album.
Oh,
It
that-
was
you played the
Inqilab.
Azadi.
It was
And
Inqilab.
then,
You were playing like a classic album.
so
I
Why
was
would
like,
it- and
let's
why-
start the parenting right.
Parenting, right? Yeah, that's it. That's good. That's good. But wait, I've never forced my musical heroes onto them. If they naturally pick it up, I'm like, that's fine. If they naturally pick it up, I'm playing.
But then
it.
now he's
You're the cool
all
parent
into-
now. For 5 years, and you'll be the lame parent.
No, I'm already late. The eldest one is like, Baba, please, don't embarrass yourself. You're embarrassing yourself. Stop it. I'm like, okay. I guess I'm not.
But now he's more into Western, so he's like,
I
said,
think
okay.
I think
whatever.
initially all of us went through that stage
Yeah.
of like, and then I definitely went like, I want to rediscover my
Yeah.
roots, like where am I coming from, and that leads
So
up.
they're a huge Cokestudio fan.
That's cool. 'cause
Yeah.
that's-
Yeah.
Because
I mean-
I think it's important to get the kids to listen to all kinds of music so that they can pick and choose and watch.
Like I said,
Yeah.
I mean, Junoon was my gateway.
Oh.
Kind of going back and finding out कि कहाँ अच्छा ये lyrics हैं, ये गाने बुलिया has also been done by other people and उनके versions आपने सुने शुरू so it helped. Similarly, I think Cokestudio does that for a lot of younger
definitely.
kids who maybe are listening to Western music and then all of a sudden
And then
they're
they
like,
realize,
"Well, that's interesting." So
yeah.
what's the story behind that?
Yeah.
And I think being that gateway into like a whole new world of discovery of like the Eastern and the depth of it and how vast it is,
It's incredible.
that's a purpose achieved. And honestly, at the end of the day, it's like, do I care about the money or do I care about what kind of an impact I had on the thing? I care about what impact I had. That's your legacy, right?
Right.
Money will come and go, but how you are taken forward, like whatever I did, and then I hear newer bands citing Mauj is like, yeah, dude, Jasim and the Pretty Boys tend to do it a lot, and they're like, we love what you guys did, and then kind of are taking that, and we kind of do more of that stuff, and I was like, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's more than what I could ask for. So,
Yeah.
Excellent.
All right, let's wrap it up.
all right, man.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot, buddy.
Cheers, man.
Cheers.
It's fun.